Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Nana, certified Zentangle teacher. Today is day 25 of Inktober Tangles 2023, and we are going to take a look at Onamato by Zentangle and also Flame Flower by Deb Bowyer, which was day 2. For this, you'll need your basic supplies. I just have a 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch Zentangle tile in white, along with a pencil, a tortillon, and a black pen. We're going to start by making our dots in the corners, and I'm keeping it pretty close to the outer edge because I think I'm going to use Onamato as a border, as a frame actually. Onamato is a lovely ribbon type tangle, but it makes a great frame or border as well. Once you get your dots in, we're going to connect those just like this, so we have something to work with. Okay, and once I have that in, I'm going to switch to my pen. And to start with, I'm just going to go over those pencil lines, and you'll see why in a minute. And your lines don't have to be straight. I know mine are not. And then from this point, I'm going to draw another line, kind of a bit wider than my pen, but I'm just going to aura within the square that we drew. And I'm going to work my way around. And then I'm going to do some more auras. These are much thinner. And because I like this width here, I'm going to do my final aura within this square here. You could have gone inside here. That's up to you. And once we have something that looks kind of like this, we're making a frame using Onamato by Zentangle. We are going to add orbs. I love orbs. Orbs are fun. I'm just going to start in the middle, I guess, and place an orb. And then I'm going to work my way around. The orbs are pretty much the same size, but they don't have to be exactly the same size. That's okay. And just keep working your way around. I like to rotate my tile as I work, so I'm more comfortable. And just take your time filling these in. This last one's probably going to be a little bigger, so I can just fill in that space like that. Once we have that step finished, then we're going to fill in these smaller areas with orbs. So these are tiny orbs, and we're just going to go all the way around. I'm starting on the inside, but you might want to start on the outside here. That's up to you. And these orbs are all touching. They're pretty close together. And here I'm going to rotate my tile so it's easier for me to work with. And then I'm going to do the outside area the same way. Just going to fill in with tiny little orbs. And we're just about done with this step. All right. So now we have something that looks like this. And we need to add even more little orbs in these areas, like the little triangles. And these are kind of filled in a little bit. So you're making a tiny orb, but filling it in. I kind of like to leave the centers white. And I'm just going to go all the way around. And then we also want to do that on the top here in these little triangle areas. And your triangle areas might be larger than mine, which is perfectly fine. And as you practice with this one, this step might be fun to do with a different colored gel pen, especially maybe a metallic one. This last one is kind of bigger. All right, and that is Onamato by Zentangle. I am right now going to put that on the back before I forget. I like to write the names of the tangles that I'm working with. Oops. By Zentangle HQ headquarters. All right. And then for the center, I thought it would be fun to pick up a tangle from earlier, which I hadn't posted a video for yet. So we're going to take a look at Flame Flower by Deb Bowyer. And we're going to start with a few little orbs in the center. So it kind of ties in with our nice border here. And I'm just going to place those orbs in a cluster in the center. And then I'm going to start with it's like a petal shape. And it's not very big. It's about the size of a fingernail. And then I'm going to rotate my tile so it's easier for me to work. And I'm going to grow another petal shape off of the first shape. That. I'm going to keep rotating. And I'm going to grow the next petal shape off of the one it's next to. And keep turning and working your way around. And I'm going to end up with 5 petal shapes here. Just like that. And then I'm going to put another layer of petals around. And you can start in any of those valleys. I'm just going to start with this one here. That. I'm going to rotate and add another layer. Another layer. And at this point, it looks fine the way it is, or you can add yet another layer of of petals, and I think I'll do that. I'll add one more layer. And then we're going to, after you've added enough layers to whatever your preference is, we're going to add little veins to each of the petals. Just add a vein, and it adds a really nice detail. And then I move on to my next layer. And then the final layer. And once you have enough petals in, I'm going to turn this over and add that. Flame Flower by Deb Bowyer. And this would, Flame Flower would make a really nice festive holiday tangle if you'd like to color it with colored pencils or use some gel pens. It almost looks like a poinsettia. And I think I'd like to add a little bit more to this. I'm just going to add some fescue in there just to create some interest, some extra interest. And you can add as many or as little as you like. And sometimes I like to rotate my tile around just to see if there's any areas where I would like to add some more. It helps to look at it at different angles. I think I have about as many in there as I'd like to have. And I'm just going to add fescue. I'm going to squish that in here. Fescue. And at this point, we can set our pen aside and pick up our number 2 pencil. And I'm going to start shading from the inside out. So I like to add some shading around the center here. And then I like to add some shading where a petal is kind of behind another petal, like this petal is behind these two petals. So I add a little bit of shading in those areas. And then moving on to the next row, again, it's where this petal is kind of behind these two. So I'm putting a little bit of shading in there, a little bit of graphite in there. And I'm just working from the center out. And I'm also going to add some shading on the outside here of the petals. All right. And then maybe a little shading in the corners. And then with the Onamato, I like to add shading to one side of these the little orbs. And when you start adding the shading there, they look like little pearls, which is really kind of cool. And I'm keeping all of the shading. I chose to keep it on the left-hand side. You could choose to do the right or the top or the bottom. So I'm working my way around. I'm not really turning my towel at this point because I want to keep all of the shading on the same side just for consistency. Right. Now we're going to switch to our tortillon, or you could use a cotton swab for blending out the graphite. Again, I'm going to start from the center, and I'm just going to kind of work my way around this cluster of tipple here. And then I'm just going to get all of these petals, the areas where the petals are behind other petals. This goes pretty quickly here. Now we're working on the outside. And on the outside, I kind of like to draw the graphite out a little bit with my tortillon and make these nice little points. Okay, and then I'm going to take a look at these corners and just kind of blend that out a little bit. And then the last part of the shading is to work with these orbs. And it's at this point the orbs really start to look like little pearls. Some people even like to go like all the way around, but I prefer to keep that the shading, the graphite on one side. And that's pretty much it. At this point, if you'd like, you could embellish with either colored pencil or gel pen. You could add a little gold in the center here. Um, it's totally up to you. I do have a box of Crayola colored pencils here, so we could add a little color very quickly, but this is just optional. So I'm just using my trusty Crayolas. I've got yellow for the center. I'm pressing pretty hard here. And then, because it does remind me of a poinsettia, I'm going to add some red in here for the petals. Starting on that first row and working out the first row of petals. At this point, I'm not pressing that hard, but if you'd like more color, please go ahead and add more pressure. And I'm also going to add red to the second row of petals. And then I'm going to put my red pencil aside, and I'm going to take a dark green pencil. And again, I'm just using Crayola here. You could use whatever brand you like. But often when I'm working with people in person, a box of Crayola works great. So I'm just making this outer layer green so they're more like leaves. I'm not pressing very hard, so if you'd like a deeper color, by all means, please add a little pressure to that. All right, cool. I'm going to take my pen at this point and add my initials. Ooh, where do I want to add them? I think for this one, I'm just going to put them in a corner here, any corner. but you could put it in an orb or work it in here somewhere. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to turn this over, and I like to always put my name and the date. And this is Inktober. This is day 25. And don't forget to take the time to hold up your tile and to really appreciate what you've done. This is such a cute one with the little flower inside, and I love the pearl effect of the Onamato tangle. You can use that in a ribbon or a border. It's really pretty versatile. You could even have rows of them all together, and it creates a really nice effect. So thank you for joining me on this journey, and I hope we have many more sessions together. Have a great day. Love you guys. Bye.